Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm going to attempt to do opal nails. I don't really feel like I was very successful in doing these, but I'll explain all that and express my feelings on it later on. But anyhow, to start off, I'm just taking these flakes that I have. They're like iridescent flakes in different colors. I'm just using the white or the clear ones because I feel like they have the most color reflex on them, and I felt like that was gonna be the best for this set. And then I'm just taking some base coat to adhere them on with the first layer. So I apply the base coat to the nail, and then I just put some of those flakes onto the nail, and then I do cure it. Honestly, for this, you could do the base coat and then put the flakes on, or you can go in with the color you're doing. Like for this, I'm just doing a traditional opal, so I'm using a milky white, but I've also seen people do black opal or different colored opals. So whatever color you're using, you could lay a layer of that down and put the flakes into that colored layer. I kind of feel like maybe I should have done that, but I didn't. I just went in with the base coat and then put the flakes on. And for this second one, I wanted to try something different. I've seen people do this with glitter to get glitter to sit more flat and flush to the nail, or make it easier to apply the glitter. So I was thinking maybe if I put the flakes on with my stamper onto the nail, maybe it would make them sit more flat on the nail, because when I was just putting them on with my tweezers, they were kind of just sticking up all over the place because they don't really sit flat, and some of them are a little bent and they're cut weird. So I was just trying to see if I could get them to lay a little more flat to try and hopefully not have to do some sort of encapsulation on them, but that was not really working out very well. As you can kind of see, it worked a little bit, but it just wasn't really sticking very well to the nail, I feel like. So I just went back to using my tweezers to put them on, and then I would have to encapsulate later. I was hoping that maybe I could get them to lay flat so I wouldn't have to do any encapsulation in the end, but I do have to. Also, so like I said, don't really feel like I was very successful in doing this set, partially because doing encapsulated type of designs on press-ons is a little bit tricky, because you have to hold the nail to file it and everything, whereas it's a whole lot easier to file a nail that's attached to a person, whether it be yourself or someone else. Trying to file these nails while they're on these nail stands is a little bit tricky, especially when they're trying to pop off sometimes. Although since I've been using that, I think it's the Blanc caramel tip gel or something, I don't have the issue with the nails trying to pop off as much as they were when I was using that tack stuff that you use to hang up posters and stuff. But anyhow, I just kind of don't like doing encapsulated designs or encapsulated nails as press-ons, just because it is a little bit difficult. Originally I was going to do this set on myself, but then I for some reason decided not to do it on myself and to do it on these press-ons instead, and I should have just stuck with doing them on myself. I feel like they might have turned out a little bit better. in the end if I would have done them on myself, but you know, it is what it is. I think I mentioned earlier, but I can't remember. After I got the flakes on, I did cure for a full 60 seconds to make sure that they were like really cured on there. And then I took Dreaming of Iceland from Madam Glam. This is a milky white. Like I said, I am just doing like a traditional type of opal. But like I said, I've seen people do like black opals and like blue, pink, purple, whatever color. You just really need like a jelly gel polish, or like kind of like a milky or like a syrupy type gel polish, one that's not super opaque. It is kind of translucent. And I just go in and I apply that to all of the nails in a thin layer, and as you can see, all of those little flakes are kind of sticking up. So I am going one way on the nail. I like go down the nail and then I go back up the nail just to make sure that milky white is covering the entire nail. It also does kind of pool in some different places based off of how those little flakes are sitting, which I feel like kind of made it look more like an opal in the end. I was hating how it was looking as I was doing it, because I'm like, this looks terrible and it's gonna end up looking terrible. I know everyone always says trust the process, and I've stated before in previous videos, like, I do not trust the process ever. Like, once something starts looking horrible, I am convinced that it's going to look horrible all the way through until the end, but I continue going just to see how bad it does look, or to see like maybe by some miracle it will end up looking somewhat decent. So I was just keeping with it to see how they were going to end up, see if they were going to come out looking all right, or if they were still going to look as bad as I was feeling like they were looking at this point. But like I was saying, the pooling in between and around those flakes, I felt like was kind of making it look a little more like an opal, because I do feel like if you look at a opal stone, like, they do kind of have some spots where they are a little more of an opaque white, whereas in some spots it is a little more translucent, transparent. So I feel like it kind of worked out having that pooling, but also, like I said, I was hating how it was pooling in the moment. And then once I got that milky white on, I cured it for 60 seconds, and then did I cure it? I don't think I cured it actually at this point. I just applied it and then I stuck the next layer of the flakes on, and then after I got the flakes on, I cured it for 60 seconds. And if you're gonna do something like this, like, you can do however many layers as you want. Like, if you wanted to be done with that one layer of the flakes and the one layer of the color that you're using, you could just be done with it like that, or you could add another layer like I am. You know, you can add as many layers as you feel you need to get the desired look. But yeah, so I did not cure that milky white before putting the flakes on. Got the flakes on, and then after I got them on, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds, and then I did apply one more layer of that milky white after I got this layer all cured on. And that was the next layer of the white that I add on is the final layer that I was doing. I was kind of going back and forth on if I should have done another layer or not, but I was kind of in a time crunch when I was doing this. I really only had about an hour or so to get these done. So I did just stick with doing however many layers I just did. The 2 layers of the flakes and the 2 layers of the white. I felt like it was good enough, so that is what I left it with. And then after I got this layer of the white on, I did go ahead and cure for a full 60 seconds. Again, doing that same thing where I go down the nail and then come back up to make sure that it was covering everything, because again, those flakes were just sticking up all over the place and I wanted to make sure everything was covered. And like I said before, they were just pooling all around the flakes. And because those flakes were sticking all over the place and making the nail all jagged and everything, I did have to go in and encapsulate them. I'm just using my crystal clear hard gel from LGN, and I'm doing a pretty thin layer of this. I didn't go in with a slip layer like I usually do whenever I do any type of encapsulation, or even if I'm just building up the nail with the hard gel. I just went straight in and floated it across the nail. Like I said, I did a pretty thin layer, making sure that everything was covered at least. So then I wasn't really filing too much into the flakes, but also if I was filing into the flakes, like, it really wasn't that big of a deal. You can't really tell in the end whether I filed into them or not, and I definitely did file into some of them. But in between each nail, like once I got it encapsulated, I did go ahead and cure it for about 30 seconds just to hold that gel in place. And then once I got all of the nails done, I did do a full 60-second cure to make sure that all of the gel was completely cured. And it was at this point when I was encapsulating them that I was really hating them. I was hoping that the encapsulation would like make it look a little bit better, because usually when you encapsulate a design or glitter or anything, I always feel like it just enhances it, and it always looks so good to have an encapsulated design, or like I said, glitter or flakes or anything. Like, it always just looks so good when it's encapsulated. But when I was encapsulating these, it was just not looking right to me, and I felt like they weren't looking like Opal, and I really was just not feeling it at this point. And I was tempted to just quit and toss all these out and try and figure out a new design to do, or something else to do for this video. but I just stuck with it because I didn't know what else to do, and I just needed to hurry up and film a video so I could have something to post, even if I'm not super happy with it. At least like it can be used as a what not to do, or I mean, if you like how they ended up looking, a what to do. And I could like, at least give like my thoughts and opinions on, what I did and like what I would change and how I would do things differently to try and help anyone who's trying to figure out how to do this design. But honestly, I feel like this is not the greatest like Opal tutorial. I definitely want to retry this design and try and make it look better. I also kind of feel like maybe these flakes weren't the best kind of flakes to use because they are pretty stiff. They're a little thick. They're not like super thick, but they are a little bit thicker than I feel like some other types of flakes are. And they are pretty stiff. Like they feel like a stiffer kind of like plastic, or like those glitter or like confetti pieces, like the butterflies or like the hearts and stuff, where they're a little bit stiffer and like you can bend them a little bit to make them sit flat, but they really just don't sit flat very well onto the nail unless you like, bend them or you hold them down with like the stamper or with like some plastic or something while they cure. So I don't know, there might be better flakes to use than these. I've been seeing, who is it? I think it's Dime Nails is the brand. On Instagram. I just recently saw her do, or someone from her team or something, do an opal set. I think she just recently came out with some like flakes, and those looked like they sat better on the nail and were more flat on the nail, whereas I feel like these flakes that I used just didn't sit very well. So I maybe would try it with a different type of flake to see if they would turn out a little bit better and be a little more opal like, or like flat on you. I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I definitely want to try it with some like different types of flakes. After all that was cured, I went in with my e-file and a sanding band and just went around and filed. And I was a big dummy and forgot to wipe them off with alcohol prior to filing them. So you can see the sticky layer is like clogging up the what's it called, the sanding band here, so it's like getting really shiny in that one area because that's all the sticky layer there, and it's also kind of like clumping up and like gathering on the nail in some spots. So make sure to remember to wipe off the nails with some alcohol to remove that sticky layer before you go in with filing. Also, I didn't really take the time to file these very well. I tried to file them as best as I could, but I really didn't care about like these looking very good, which I know is so bad to say. Like I said, I was not feeling them, and I was just like, I just want to get these done, whether they look good or not. So I did as best of filing as I could, with the time frame that I had, also with like the mindset that I was in. I was just trying to get through it pretty quickly. So yeah, the shaping isn't all that great. They are a little bit lumpy in some places still, But after I did the filing, I did take my shiny top coat from LGN and applied that, hoping that once they were all filed and everything and top coated, that they would look better. But again, I was not feeling them. I was just feeling like they did not come out the way that I was hoping they would. Like, I was really hoping they would end up looking more like the opal stone and like how everyone else does the opal nails, and they always look so good. Yeah, I just was not feeling this set at all. Something else that if I were to do this again that I would do would be to do the veining. You know, like how people do on like the gemstone nails where they take the white and they do like the little squigglies across the nail, and then they like blend it out with like with some alcohol or acetone or whatever, or even using like the alcohol inks, which I don't have any. I want to get some to try those out and like play around with them. But anyhow, I should have added the veining on this. I wasn't really thinking about adding it, but now like watching this back and seeing it, I'm like, I might have looked a little better if I had done a little bit of veining on these, and might have made them look a little more like opal. But I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe they still would have looked kind of funky. And even if they don't look like opal, they are kind of looking like... Oh yeah, I remember as soon as I pulled them out of the lamp and I saw this, I was like, ugh. They look so bad. Anyhow, they're kind of reminding me of dragon tails, the little dragon scale or stone or whatever it was that they used to go into like Dragonland or whatever. Kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, oh gosh, looking at these on camera again, they're not looking good at all. Oh my gosh. Once I finished them, I immediately, like, after I got finished with, like, my, finishing shots and everything, I took them off so quick and just threw them into my, bucket that I have for my nail graveyard and have just completely forgotten about them. I mean, I guess they're not super bad, but they're also not that great. I don't know, like I said, I just am not really feeling this set. I want to try it again. I really do, and I want to try and do better. I will say though, under flash here, they kind of look alright. They look more opal-like under the flash, but still, I'm just not feeling it. I'm gonna have to redo this and give you guys a better tutorial or a better video, because this was kind of a hot mess. But anyhow, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was kind of not good.